The T-72 was one of the first plastic kits for Team Yankee, and it showed. Plus, T-72 was overshadowed in the game as new Soviet tanks like the T-64 and T-80 took the limelight. The tank also suffered from a widespread belief it was too expensive points-wise for what it could do. But can the new T-72B change all that? Can the T-72 rise from obscurity to become the darling of Soviet and Warsaw Pact list builders? I honestly have no idea, but let's look at the new T-72B kit anyway. This is TSBX29, the T-72 Tank Company box set for Team Yankee. This is a different product from the original TSBX01 T-72 Tank Company originally released right back at the launch of the game. You can see the Warsaw Pact national insignia on this box, showing that this is not just a Soviet box set. Warsaw Pact nations can also access the T-72. But the big deal is this box contains parts to make the T-72B, the latest variant of the T-72 for the game. You can also get a lot of these in the T-72 Tank Battalion Warsaw Pact Starter Force box. This is a brand new product that's just been released for the game. You get 7 T-72s in there, and some Su-17 fitter fighter bombers as well. Let's very briefly talk history. T-72 was developed as a fallback design after teething issues with the more technically ambitious T-64. The T-72 entered service in 1973. It's armed with a 125mm smoothbore gun, which can fire missiles in addition to standard ammunition. The gun is fed by an autoloader, which allows a crew of 3, driver, gunner and commander. The tank follows conventional Soviet design with a low silhouette and domed turret. It includes composite armour with ceramic layers in the turret front and glacis. T-72 was very successful and has been widely exported. Export versions tend to lack some of the more sophisticated feature of Soviet versions. The T-72B was introduced in 1985. The turret received additional composite armour, giving a more pronounced bulge across the front arc. The tank also received a new main gun, as well as upgraded stabilisation and sights. In addition to improved ammunition, T-72B was the first version of the tank that could fire the 9M119 reflex missile. The missile fitted into the tank's autoloader and was fired through the main gun. Reflex, known to the West as the AT-11 Sniper, gave T-72B a new, accurate punch at long range. But the big change was ERA armour. Explosive reactive armour is an active armour suite composed of explosive blocks sandwiched between metal fly plates. This armour is added over the tank's existing armour, giving a blocky appearance. ERA uses the concept of counter-explosion to disrupt the molten jet from high-explosive anti-tank rounds, decreasing their effectiveness. T-72B's Contact 1 ERA armour was effective against heat rounds, but had little impact on kinetic energy penetrator rounds. As well as the turret, ERA blocks were fitted over the front portion of the hull and side skirts as well. Later T-72 variants were fitted with second-generation ERA like Contact 5. Contact 5 used heavier fly plates to break up APFS penetrator rounds as well. Continual improvements and armour upgrades have kept versions of the T-72 in service up to the present day. If we look at the back of the box, there's an exploded assembly diagram of the T-72 kit. The main T-72B assembly is shown, with options for assembling the original T-72 or T-72M versions outlined in red. The box set contains parts to build 5 tanks, either the new T-72B, export T-72M for Warsaw Pact nations, or the original Soviet T-72A. The only unit card included in this box set is for the Soviet T-72B. This makes sense. The other cards are all available either in the new Warsaw Pact or existing Soviet unit card packs. Let's look at the plastic. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the sprue for the original kit. This is the same plastic that's been available since 2015. This is all you need to build the original T-72A or T-72M. The only thing I noticed was the commander's hatch seems to have been reworked. This might just be my imagination, but I remember it being comically short on the original. Much more interesting is the T-72B upgrade sprue. This is the real new release here. This is a single sprue of olive green plastic with only 9 parts. Parts are highly detailed and crisply moulded, the sort of great quality plastic we now routinely expect from Battlefront. The turret is a single piece part intended to replace the original turret if you're building this version. You'll need to attach it to the existing lower turret piece and gun from the original kit. The obvious difference is the Contact 1 ERA blocks over the front and top of this part, but if you look under these you can also see the increased front turret armour profile. This additional composite armour earned the T-72B the nickname Super Dolly Parton. Another change is the added sight for the AT-11 sniper missile. There's also a section of ERA blocks for the front glasses plate of the tank. There's a locating groove under this piece that slots right down on the V-shaped splash guard. It's a nice touch and will make locating this piece correctly super simple. In another slick move, the lower portion of the ERA blocks for the lower section of the glasses also has the dozer blade. This was missing from the original T-72 kit. This piece will still be useful if you're building the earlier versions of the tank. I'd suggest snipping the ERA blocks off and gluing the dozer blade into place for some extra detail. The other parts include the ERA blocks for the gun mantlet, which also attaches the searchlight. There's also a set of 8 smoke discharges which fit into a slot on the turret near the commander's hatch. One-piece external fuel drums are provided to replace the 2-part piece on the original sprue. I couldn't see any obvious difference in the shape or dimension of the drums. It just appears Battlefront have provided one-piece parts to simplify assembly. This just leaves the side skirts. These have the added ERA blocks on the front section and replace the rubber skirts of the original kit. I did notice there are more prominent locating pins on the inside of these skirts. This should make it easier to place these and provide more positive locating against the hull. The originals had some wiggle room that this seems to be designed to avoid. So those are the parts on the T-72B upgrade sprue. These look great and I'm glad the T-72 has had a revamp. My strongest impression are the small touches like better locating pins on parts and just a more efficient feel to the kit engineering overall. So how is T-72B going to do on the table? It costs more than the T-72A but has a lot of advantages. This is the Soviet T-72B unit card. T-72B is a tank unit with the ERA and infrared special rules. Teams with ERA armour have a side armour rating of 16 against heat weapons. That's a nice boost that will defeat a lot of infantry and light anti-tank weapons. However, the rule also says the teams can't carry passengers, for obvious health and safety reasons. Infrared means the team can roll 2 dice for night visibility and take the highest score. Courage and counterattack are 4+, while morale and remount are 3+. These guys will stay in a fight or recover from being bailed out, but conscript levels of training are always the Soviets' biggest issue. That's reflected in the 5+ skill, so expect to use follow me rather than blitz moves with these guys. T-72B is hit on a 3+, so make use of cover if you can to aid survivability. The T-72B threads the needle between the T-72 and the T-80 for armour. Front armour is 18, side is 9 and top is 2. Remember that the ERA special rule gives 16 side armour against heat. That should help against flank attacks by infantry anti-tank weapons. While T-72B's tactical move is listed as 10 inches or 25 centimetres, remember that the stabiliser rule lets you move 14 inches or 35 centimetres. Moving more than 10 inches gives you a +1 to hit penalty, and you can't fire machine guns or assault. Cross is a 3+. The 125mm 2A46 gun has a 32-inch or 80cm range, and a moving or halted rate of fire of 1. Anti-tank is 22 with a 2+ firepower. That's a big gun. It gets the brutal, laser rangefinder and stabiliser special rule. We've already seen that stabiliser gives some extra movement, coming with a penalty to hit. Brutal means infantry or unarmoured tank teams must re-roll successful saves when hit with the main gun. Laser rangefinder means there's no to hit penalty if firing at targets more than 16 inches away. A big step up from T-72A is the optional AT-11 sniper missile. This option costs an extra 1 point per tank to equip, but turns T-72B into a long-range sniper. AT-11 has a whopping 48-inch or 120cm range. This is balanced by the 16-inch or 40cm minimum range. You can't use the missile against close targets. Rate of fire is 1, moving or halted. Being able to fire the missile on the move should be useful. Anti-tank is 22, the same as the gun round, but it gets the guided, heat and tandem warhead special rules. Guided means no to-hit penalty for targets over 16 inches range. It also means you can fire the missile against helicopters if you want to. Heat means the target gets no armour bonus over 16 inches, and the tandem warhead ignores the RA armour. That's all pretty sweet. T-72B also gets a 12.7mm AA machine gun as well as the coaxial 7.62mm gun. Let's look at the T-72B Tank Battalion force diagram in the Warsaw Pact book. This formation has a T-72B Tank Battalion HQ, along with up to 3 companies of T-72B tanks, 2 of which are compulsory. Organic support includes BMP or BTR infantry, BRDM or BMP recon, 2 anti-aircraft platoons and an artillery battery. The T-72B tank company gives you 3 tanks for 15 points. That's 5 points each. The cost steadily increases up to 5.7 points per tank as you take bigger platoons. The AT-11 sniper missile upgrade is plus 1 point per tank. This makes a fully tricked out T-72B about 2 points more than a T-72A. In comparison, T-64s are 4.5 to 5.5 points each, and T-80s are 7.5 up to nearly 9 points each. The T-72Bs give slightly better armour than T-64 and have ERA. The missile upgrade is cheaper for T-64, just plus 2 points for all tanks in the company, while T-72B is plus 1 point per tank. This gives Soviet players a lot of tanks to choose from. You can match T-72B, T-64 or T-80 to your opponent and playstyle. I just don't think the vanilla T-72A is going to get much love going forward. But the big difference will be for Warsaw Pact players, I guess. It's a big points jump to T-72B from T-72M, but a huge capability leap too. It saves them having to take Soviet support to get access to heavier tanks. So that's the T-72B kit from Battlefront. It's a great upgrade to the old T-72A, which was widely considered overpointed in the game. Introducing the T-72B lets the T-72 become useful again without changing points, something I know Battlefront is loath to do. Plus I know people have been asking for an ERA-equipped version of the T-72 for ages, and making it available to Warsaw Pact players is a major boost. A heavier and more capable tank option makes their forces seem a bit more complete and integrated. I'd like to thank my wallet for supplying this kit, but a big shout out to Blitz and Pieces in Singapore for selling me the T-72 Tank Battalion box set. And to my viewers whose YouTube ad revenue paid for part of the shipping cost. If you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.